Good afternoon, my name is Alex Mortimer. I'm a director here at the Supply Chain Academy and CP Training. Welcome to our 10th podcast. Today's podcast is our faculty member focus with Jeremy Johnson. Jeremy, welcome to the Supply Chain Academy in our studios here.
Hi Alex.
What have you been doing today?
I am currently running a service level agreement training course for a variety of I suppose quite senior level managers, some from UNICEF, some from outside the organisation, and a couple from the public sector.
Oh, brilliant. How's it all going?
It's going extremely well up to now.
Obviously, you'd have to say that on the podcast.
Yes. I would.
So with that, Jeremy, could you introduce yourself and provide a bit of background to your experience?
My name is Jeremy Johnson. I live in Cambridge. I've spent the last 40 years working in business. And a whole range of businesses. Started off doing a graduate training programme in the steel industry. I then spent 10 years as a contracts manager in nuclear. I decided that the nuclear industry wasn't the most commercially focused organisation, and if I didn't
move away from a real interesting role there.
It was a very interesting role whilst the nuclear industry was expanding. But as we know, nuclear has contracted quite a lot over the last couple of decades, really. So I left and I went to Cranfield and I did an MSc to update my skills, primarily my IT skills, and then I moved into automotive. And then following on from that, I worked in automotive, fast-moving consumer goods. I worked for domestic appliances with Russell Hobbs. As a supply chain manager there for 5 years.
Wow. So you know exactly what's going on in the supply chain world.
I've got a really good hands-on knowledge of, I suppose, middle management, primarily middle management positions, one or two more senior level director jobs, but a lot of it is middle management, making it happen, adding value. Which
is really important. I mean, as you know, Supply Chain Academy and CP Training, the differentiator between them is that Supply Chain Academy supports executives to think strategically around certain topics in supply chain, a place to come learn from each other as well. And CP Training has always been about the aspiring manager to understand the end-to-end supply chain, skills development in topics like S&OP, demand planning, forecasting, lean supply chain, all the way through to procurement, contracts, managing your contracts, managing your suppliers, etc., etc. So this leads quite nicely to my next question, which is, strategy is quite an important part of growing your business. You've worked in lots of different organisations. So why is thinking about strategy crucial to business leaders, especially at this time as part of what's happening in the economy?
Well, I think that if you look at supply chain strategy, you have to think about, I suppose, the other side of it, which is manufacturing strategy. Manufacturing strategy is essentially the strategic review of the make or buy decision. So I spent a number of years, I suppose, alongside most of these jobs that I've done. I worked for the Open University for 20 odd years, where I was teaching an integrated graduate development programme to the Ford Motor Company, and that was about manufacturing strategy. But we used to flip it around, and we used to say, if you're not making it, if you're not going to make it, you're going to have to buy it. And if you're going to have to buy it, you're going to have to design the supply chain and get the supply chain to deliver what you want. And if you're not in control of it, which you're not in terms of it being outside the organisation, that makes it doubly demanding. The risks are greater. The risks of getting it wrong are greater. So training in strategy associated with management aspects are actually key to making it work, because they're the sort of things that you almost have to get, because they're strategic, you have to get them right first time. And if you don't, then you're wasting money, time, resources in having to do it again.
Which links me nicely again to my next question. It's like you've prepared for this. And I wanted to catch you off the cuff. Obviously, training is what we offer in terms of understanding supply chain, and you've talked about linking strategy to getting your people more engaged through change and developing them to be more effective in their roles. We're doing a lot of work with the manufacturing sector. Part of it is around demand planning, production planning, scheduling. What are the risks if you don't develop your people properly in these areas?
I think that businesses have to recognise that businesses almost succeed or fail on the basis of the people who work for them, both from the top to the bottom. So you have to develop your people. We're all trying to add more value, be more efficient and effective in the value that we add, and that's from top to bottom. And so I think you have to train and develop your managers and your directors as well. There's a lot of change going on. Automotive, they say there's more change going to happen in the next 10 years than in the last 100. So that's a sort of an indicator of how much change is coming down the supply chain. And I do think that you have to train your people in new skills, but the onus is on the employer to get the best out of them, develop them, and make sure that they're the managers of the future as well.
I totally agree. Because my next question to you is, how does it drive productivity, which you've kind of touched upon. What we're seeing in our business is around supply chain technology, how blockchain interferes. What does it actually mean? It's a bit of a buzzword at the moment, but there is problems around supply chain disruption, different elements of it, linking to big data and what it actually means. And I don't think companies have actually got to grips with how you can utilise big data more effectively for consumer purchasing. But as an expert in your field, I mean, what are you seeing when you're talking to other clients and other companies and the trends that you're seeing? And how do you think business leaders need to kind of evolve and succeed?
I think that senior people in organisations need to get closer to what's happening on the ground. I think it's very easy to have a strategy, but making it happen is the challenging bit. As your managers and your operators and your staff making things happen in real time. That's the challenge. Lots of risks associated with it, but training and developing them is key to that. So problem-solving techniques, improvement techniques, and developing that culture of continuous improvement and encouraging staff to do that without them getting too concerned about if they fail. So getting the right culture in the business. As you know, in Uniserv, it's got a great culture. And they work together, and the senior management seem to be close to the things that are happening in real time. And I think that's the future. I think that if you talk to some of the big recruitment companies like Hayes, talking to one of their directors a couple of years ago now, he said the criteria had moved from not just hard skills, but to soft skills, talking to people, working in teams, communicating with diverse people from different backgrounds, internationally. It's all that soft stuff that facilitates the hard stuff happening.
Brilliant.
So I think that is it's not just about knowing about capacity management, it's the whole package. No. And I think that they need to be fitted together better, and I think that needs to be a focus of senior managers looking at their teams.
Brilliant, I totally agree. We've got a lot of courses that you're running here at the Academy. Do you want to talk a little bit about them?
Yeah, we do. I suppose we do a variety of courses, from service level agreements to the total management process of the supply chain and procurement, advanced skills in procurement, managing risks in procurement, and pretty much anything around those subjects, being able to mix and match them. I think that's one of the I see that as being one of the positives about the Supply Chain Academy, is that we have the ability to mould those courses to what people want,
rather
than the other way around.
You've just stolen my line. I mean,
Okay.
I was going to ask you, why are our courses different?
Okay.
But you seem to be ahead of me, which is great. But that's exactly it. I mean, we're different because we adapt, we're agile, we're supporting organisations with their real core challenges and issues to get their staff thinking around some real life projects, and we're very smart around helping them achieve and have some results as a result of our training. And I think that's the differentiator between us and others.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think that training needs to be applied. You don't want people sitting in a room staring at a screen for 3 hours. You want them to be doing stuff, applying it to their own businesses, and working out really how to do things better. It's easy to do it on paper.
Putting a bit of pressure on them as well to get them thinking,
yeah.
Challenging them.
Yeah, I think it's easy to do these things on paper and say, we need to reduce our stock, we need to be leaner, we need to be better at doing these. But the reality is making it happen in practice. That's the difficult bit. If everybody could do that, we wouldn't be here, would we?
No, indeed. And they've put me on a few courses as well. I've actually got to test them out and make sure.
Is it one of mine?
No, it's not. Yours are all right. I'm quite confident, mate. Your one, they're brilliant. No, I'm confident about all of our courses, but essentially, it's important for us to learn and learn the latest techniques in all aspects of supply chain. And make sure that we're encouraging other companies to do likewise, because you can't talk to companies about their training needs and not having done the training yourself. No,
and I think that's what we have to do as trainers. We have to keep up to date, don't we?
Most definitely.
With things are changing fast, and we have to change with it.
Jeremy, it's been a pleasure having you on this podcast.
Okay,
Final
great.
question: give us your top 3 tips on best supply chain practice.
I suppose the first one would be know what it is.
Start.
So to be actually, to understand perhaps some benchmarking within your business sector or within the industry, and saying this is where we need to be to compete with the best. Having a high level plan within your business a strategy to be able to get there, and then making sure that you train and develop your people and give them the wherewithal to deliver that plan as quickly as possible.
Jeremy, that's been fantastic. Great to have you. Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks. Nice to have a chat.